Man, what's going on? What's going on? We are back for another one. I'm watching a couple different people's things the last couple of days, and a question that came up about Teofimo Lopez because they've been going back and forth between him and Devin Haney, and he was like, "All right, you know what? I'm going to make the WBC. I'm going to see about having the WBC make you my next mandatory." You know, and the question arose like, why does he need to do that? Why do you need to, have the WBC make Devin Haney your mandatory in order for you to fight him? Why don't your camp and his camp just negotiate and get the fight and set up the fight? Well, this is the problem. Number one, Eddie Hearn, the Zone, are not going to pay Teofimo Lopez what's necessary for him to go to the Zone and fight in order to fight Devin Haney. He believes his worth in a fight like that is $10 million. And I agree with him. I believe a fight of that nature, the Zone should have no issue paying him anywhere between $8 and $10 million because of the history and what they paid people, in order to do fights. Because of what they paid people doesn't seem unreasonable to me at all. Undisputed fight on the Zone with two of the biggest young stars in boxing. You paying $20 million for Canelo to fight whatever the hell he just fought. Mikey Garcia, $7 million to fight Jesse Vargas. Loma, $5 million to fight a nobody. Ramirez, $4 million for unification with Hooker on your site. Yet you're only trying to pay this guy $4 million for undisputed bout. That's what you try to pay him. But at the end of the day, he was able to get that same amount from Triller for fighting a nobody. For fighting his mandatory. So that's just what it is. The problem with Top Rank is, regardless of what Bob Arum says, Top Rank is not setting up a fight between Devin Haney and Teofimo Lopez. They're not doing that. Period. It's not happening. Before this whole Cambosa thing was happening, before when it seemed as if they were going to be able to have a fight in Australia and Bob Arum and Top Rank were kind of, on the same page and trying to get that fight set up in Australia, Cambosa was all good. According to Bob Arum, Mayweather contacted him about setting up a fight between Gervonta Tank Davis and Teofimo Lopez. He brushed that aside, made no effort to actually set up that fight. When it came to Devin Haney, he said Devin Haney needs to fight other people, bring his name back up. He fights like a Linares, somebody of that nature. Then a fight like that could happen. But his whole focus was setting up this fight with his mandatory until they couldn't do it in Australia anymore. Then it became an issue. Because then he wanted to pay Teofimo Lopez is whatever chump change is trying to pay him, using the whatever that's going on as an excuse in order for him to fight whoever else who's going to have him fight. On Top Rank, whether it be Katana or whoever the hell he's going to have him fight. That's what that was. But he said, nah, I want my bread. I think actually they were supposed to have him fight his mandatory, but in Miami or something like that. But they weren't going to give him no real bread. That was the problem. And he's like, no, I know what my worth is. And he went and got his worth. And the problem with Top Rank is, besides them not, going to set up the fight, they're not going to pay him anyway. They're not going to pay for that fight. They're not going to pay Devin Haney to come to ESPN to fight him. They're not going to pay Teofimo Lopez what he believes he's worth in that fight. So what do you do? Since that's your promoter, what exactly do you do in this situation? Same thing that just happened with the Cambosa situation. What he did in that situation was, because that guy was his mandatory, he was able to go into a purse bid. And when he went into a purse bid, he was able to get Triller because they made the biggest offer. They were able to take control of that fight, even though that, Teofimo Lopez is not their fighter. So him going through this step again is the only way that he can bypass Top Rank and Bob Arum. And it's the only way that he can get the funds and the money that he wants for the fight. He basically takes care of both those birds with one stone. And that stone's name is Triller. Because if Triller's willing to put $6 million up for him to fight his mandatory, imagine what he'd be able to do, what they would be able to put up for a fight of that magnitude for a Devin Haney versus a Teofimo Lopez. Imagine what they'll be able to put up for a fight of that nature. And a split on a fight like that is 75-25. 75 goes to the champion, 25% goes to the challenger. Devin Haney would be the challenger in that situation. So if, let's say if Trilla's willing to put up like, let's say, $20 million for that fight, Teofimo Lopez gets more than that $10 million that he wanted. They put up like $15 million for that fight. He gets the money that he wanted. He's still getting it with his $10 million. And then Devin Haney gets his $4 million, $3.5, $4 million, $5 million, something like that. He gets to get that. So he still gets paid some bread. He's not going to get paid anywhere near what Teofimo Lopez is going to get paid. But he should be cool with the $4 million that he was willing to give to Teofimo Lopez. That should be fine. And then you can go ahead and fight on Triller. Unless DAZN says, you know what? We want to have this match on our network. And they decide F that, and they put up the money, and they put up the 20. Either way, in order to have the fight on their network, either way, Teofimo Lopez still wins. He still bypasses Top Rank. He bypasses, Bob Arum. He bypasses ESPN. Gets his money. Gets a fight for Undisputed, a huge fight. And then Devin Haney also gets what he wants. But the only way for him to do it, unless he gets out of his contract, which he has a case he might be able to possibly get out of it. That's the only other way that he can do this. He needs to find a way around Bob Arum. Bob Arum's going to he might try to put him down for like a year. He might. I don't think he's going to be able to put him down for an extreme long extended period of time, just due to the fact that ESPN, I don't think is going to be cool with that. To have one of the biggest younger stars on ESPN all of a sudden not fighting twice a year and bringing in those viewerships, bringing in the money they make off the shoulder programming. Because from the shoulder programming, from the bouts itself, the commercials, everything, ESPN makes more than 10. The amount of money that they pay those fighters, ESPN makes substantially more out of that fight than that. So they'll be digging into their pockets. So that'll be an issue. So that's why. That's basically is the reason. It's to bypass Top Rank, and it's to bypass Bob Arum. And this is the only way he can do it. And, people can say whatever they want, man. The kid said, this is what I'm worth. He believed this was what I am worth, and he found someone that would give him that money that he believed he was worth. When it comes to the fight of that magnitude, now he's saying I'm worth $10 million. And it looks like he probably has someone that's be willing to pay him is in the same mind, thought, as him. They believe he's worth that. They believe that fight will be worth it. Same mindset. Either way, whether it be DAZN deciding to pay for it or Triller paying for it or somebody else deciding to get into the action and pay for it. But people need to stop, at this point, I think people need to stop getting on that kid as far as when he's talking about his worth and what he believes fights should be when it pertains to him. As soon as that $4 million, he got that $4 million from Triller, that was the time for everybody to shut up. And I understand people are saying that, if it wasn't for Triller, then he wouldn't have got that money. Well, Triller was there, and I'm pretty sure they knew that. I'm pretty sure they had conversations, whether it be DeBella, because, DeBella, whoever it is, had conversation where they knew that person was going to do that. And even if they didn't put that money up, DAZN still put that money up, and he still would have made like $1 million more than what Bob Arum and Top Rank were trying to pay him. So regardless, him believing that he was worth substantially more than what Top Rank was trying to pay him, he was right. He was right when he was right. And I say people say, Triller, if it wasn't for them, cool. How many people on PBC can say that? If it wasn't for PBC and Al Heyman, Gary Russell wouldn't be getting paid the amount of money that he gets paid. Because Gary Russell goes around all the time trying to get, see what he can get, how much money he can get from different people. Then he ends up going back to PBC because he's not a PBC fighter. And he's not signed to Al Heyman. He works with him on a fight-to-fight basis. That's it. Yet when Gary Russell comes back to him, He pays him top dollar for his fights. He's still getting paid 1.2, 1.5, getting the gate if he's headlining, and still getting television rights. Paying him substantially more than anybody else would pay him. And he wouldn't get that if PBC wasn't there. But PBC is there and PBC is willing to pay him. Laro's getting some paid money that no one else would have paid him but PBC. But PBC paid him. That's what it is. You know? Nobody else might have did it, but PBC was paid him. So if this guy can find someone that's on the same wavelength as him, that has the same belief as him when it comes to what he believes he's worth, then that's what he's worth. That's what he's worth. And people should respect it. You know, if he doesn't fight now, if he can maneuver his way now into a fight with like a Devin Haney, and he does that, then you really got to put respect on his name. You know, I don't know if he's going to fight Devin Haney. I don't know what this guy's going to do. But as far as what he believes his worth is, I don't think people should question that. At this point, and this is one situation where I think you need to kind of sit back and see what he does. You know, if he does that, because if he does that, who's going to be complaining? You know, it works out for everybody if he wants to do that. If he doesn't do that, he tries to go a different direction, tries to fight other lower tier fighters, and of course we can get on him, because just like Canelo, hey, cool, yes, somebody's paying you $27+ million to fight bums, but at the end of the day, we're still getting on your tail because you're not fighting the guys that we want you to fight. You know, you can take your $20 million a fight, but you got to take that criticism too. And even if Teofimo Lopez can get himself into a space where he can get paid $4 million every single fight fighting lower tier fighters, we'll get on him still. You know, because yeah, you're getting your bread, but you know what? You're still not fighting the guys that we want you to fight. Just like Gervonta Tank Davis, he's making a killing right now, but people still get on him because people want to see him fight certain people. So if that's what it comes to, then cool. But as of this situation, why he would do things the way that he said he would do it, as far as having to get a mandatory, have Devin Haney become a mandatory, that's why. It's his way around Bob Arum, Top Rank, and ESPN. But we'll see what the kid does, though. But for now, like, subscribe, share. I'm out.